interesting thing. I gotta take a piss, so I gotta stop somewhere. That's what's crazy. But again, that's another topic for discussion. I can share later. Let's pull up in a parking lot and rip it real quick. Look, I stop. Nice open space. Dude, I gotta go in like the next 30 seconds before I'm gonna start leaking. Where do I go? Oh, a lot of those people. We can go in this nice little corner here. Just whip it around. Face the highway. There's a camera. Sweet. This is attention camera. Nice. Fuck, I gotta go. Honestly, God, kind of like a scenic piss. Just like the ambiance or like the atmosphere, like, or ambience of just seeing the cars on the highway, hearing the cars, and you're just surrounded by this kind of industrial-esque kind of, I don't know what to call it, like it's like a non-place. Yeah, it is a non-place. And it's like not busy either, but it's just like a GO station that's like a train bus station, or a bus station rather. It's like just situated shortly, or like slightly, or like literally adjacent to the highway. And yeah, it's like late at night, and then it's kind of cool. It's kind of a cool sight. So that's what's tough. I mean, so the good news is I piss. I can still pee. Sorta. You know, just I have urgencies, incontinence, like loss of control, like, and all the rest. So now that I've gone now, I mean, I went, 30 something minutes ago. So now that I've just went, that could buy me another, 15, 20 minutes, or it can buy me another hour or two max, I'd say. Like, yeah, I wouldn't say more. I'd say I'd have to go in the next, especially if I'm going to the gym, like in the next 2 hours at the very least. Not to say I go every 2 hours, but I've gone, like, I don't know, at least 10 times today, easily. Like, since like midnight, let's say. So fun fact, yeah, like I woke up 3 times in the middle of my sleep to get up and slug my way over to the washroom to like empty. It's not even empty, just like sort of empty, because I can't empty fully unless I go perpetually and I like consume no liquid or no beverages through the day. Then I'd get like near dry. But I can't just like empty in one shot, because like 1, I can't empty full, 2, I can't choose when to go, and then 3, because I can't choose when to go, I just have urgencies. Anyways, that's something. Yeah, and like, what did I drink today? I've had at least 3 to 4 glasses of water. It's not a ton, honestly. And then at the gym, I'm gonna have at least, 1 water bottle's worth of water, which isn't even a ton. Like, I try not to consume too much water, like just enough to stay hydrated. Whereas like back in the day, I would bring a 1 liter bottle and I would have to refill that before the end of my workout. So it is what it is. But yeah, like I have at least 2 protein shakes, so like total of those is close to 1,500 milliliters, and then 4 or 5 glasses of water in the day, and then I think that's really it. And the days when I know I have to like do something or go somewhere, like be outside the home, where it's like I have a bit of a commute, or I have to be somewhere in the public, or I have to just be out, I try and kind of limit or cap like the amount of water, whatever I take, which is tough, right? Like for a normal person, they wouldn't have to necessarily like, create those caps or like limits for themselves, etc. But like one thing I think about it too is like, it is what it is, right? But as time goes on, if or when, or like when I'm unable to like walk anymore, and like how bad will this get? So it's like one of two things. Like I won't be able to go anymore, so I can't like void or empty, so I'd have to like obviously use something to, I'm not going to say what it is, but like use something to help extract from my bladder per se. And then even more than that, especially if you're like limited in mobility to like go places, or make your way to the washroom or to the toilet, etc. If you're in a wheelchair, that's tough. But then those combined, if you're in a wheelchair and you can't go, it's like, okay, well, anyway, I guess you can go is from using using a catheter. But until then, just make the best. Shopping carts again, bruh. Snack time. Dude, why is this stuff so... I'm just hungry. Oh my god. Food after workout. It's like you can eat anything. I think that's what's like... of all the times I gymmed, it was really this year, late last year up until early this year. I'd say like from like, can't really call last summer, but like I'd say from, maybe it was summer, that's why I wasn't. It's like you're like taking pictures, or like you're it's like pressing play, never hitting record, or what's it saying? It's like taking notes, never hitting the save button or whatever. But it's like I would gym exhausted, not even as late as this time. Like I'd get home at midnight and be like, oh, I'm too hungry, have my protein shake and just sleep. So maybe I'm getting enough protein or hardly enough, but I'm not really rebuilding my body with any carbs, or not even meeting my caloric intake. And I wasn't putting any gains across like 2, 3, 4 months, I'd say, when I was fairly consistent last year. And then sometimes I'm hungry, I'm like, oh, I just gotta grab Subway, and I don't get Subway. I get Subway because I'm hungry and I'm in a rush to eat. And then I get home, it's like, and I just like loaf, don't eat. So there's this in between where it's like I don't want to spend money, but I don't have time, but I do have time. Then I go home tired, exhausted, shower, and I just go to bed. Which I think just having snacks with you can really solve that problem for people who are in that kind of category, just to get your appetite started, and then as soon as you get home, take in that protein shake and then have a quick meal. I mean, it's really late right now. I'm not going to say the time. You shouldn't really be eating too much and go to bed, especially like most people won't even gym this time. They got to wake up early. But nonetheless, that whole, just making sure you get some sort of meal in after you work out, and your protein shake as well, just to get the rebuild going. So, just like that. It's crazy, there's like trash everywhere, shopping carts, classic. Never fails. So just like that was my last workout of my 20s. Kind of sums up the decade. I'm actually glad I kind of recorded it because I started seriously lifting in my 20s. So it's like across this past decade, it was kind of like most of my, I mean, that's all the lifting journey of my life so far. I've never lived a previous life before or after, obviously, or another life at that. But I mean, the 20s, essentially, I mean, that's for most people, like captures kind of the start of your lifts. And for myself, I'm not saying it's the end, but like, I don't know. Started lifting, I'd say, got introduced to lifting in 2014, the summer. A good friend of mine, he would sneak me into his gym. Just small, super small, weird. I forgot why he went. I think it was just close to home. And then he kind of taught me a bit about lifting. And then I got my own gym membership in 2015, literally 10 years ago. But I think I was 19. I was not yet 20. Yeah. So I was 19 when I actually started lifting. And then, yeah, so I guess like 2014 summer, I kind of got introduced, but then 2015 is when I kind of started lifting. I think it was like 2015 or 2016 is when I made my first like max gains. Today I was not even big, but I remember I maxed it at 65. Same franchise, I can say it was a Fit for Less. It was like an OG Fit for Less location. They closed down and they relocated. Super like small ass spot, pretty bad stock. Honestly, it had everything I needed at the time. Now in hindsight, it's garbage. But like, it was so no frills. I mean, Fit for Less is still no frills, but it was probably it's probably the smallest Fit for Less I've ever been to. Because then I went to another one after that, which I thought was like, because I upgraded my card, I was like, oh, this is like luxury. And then now I look at that one, I'm like, that one's so understocked. It's probably dirty, it's probably messy now. Anyways. But yeah, I remember, that one didn't even have a squat rack. I had one Smith machine, I think one bench and one incline bench. So to squat, I think I would put the weight on the incline and then go in and pick that up, like a plate at that. So I never got introduced to squatting seriously until I moved to a different location. Right? I just upgraded my card and started going to that location. So I don't know, I can share this. Honest to God, like I'm not that far from home-ish. It's like I need to find a way to not really distance my commutes, to give myself like recording time to talk, but rather maybe I just squeeze in my reflections or my observations the time it takes to get home. I think that'd be a good practice, just to give me a time limit. Exhausting. But yeah, so I was lifting, so like my lifting journey, so 2015, such a weird sight. So 2015 I started kind of lifting on my own, and then I think my friend who used to let me into his gym in 2014, when he kind of started teaching me lifting, he joined in 2015, I think, or shortly after me, like I think in the summer. So I started in maybe the new year. Honestly, I can't even remember, but yeah, we lifted together. I think it was like frame after school or when he was in town in the summer, and then I would just go myself after like co-op, after work, or after school, because I had a car already. So yeah, I think that was like 2015. And then 2016 is when as I said, like I kind of plateaued at that gym. Again, it was like weird way to do squats, like 2 plate calf raises, 2 plate 25 calf. I can't even remember. I think it was like 2 or 3 plate. Again, doesn't matter. I don't even think they had a leg press. They did. Oh, a machine leg press. Yeah, so understocked. But I think it was mainly chest, so I was making most of my gains. For shoulders, I don't think I was lifting heavy. Maybe I was just doing regular shoulder press. And maybe I was doing like 40, 45, maybe 50s max, maybe. But yeah, I remember my flat chest, I was, at that gym, I was maxing 65s, and the incline maybe like 55s. I think that was my thing. My incline was always 10 pounds less. I never got my incline closer to my flat within the 10 pound range. So, and then 2017 I moved. I went to university after that from college, and then I got an apartment somewhere. So and then when I moved, I think I was 2016 I was still lifting. I finished college in 2016, and I got a new job in 2017 beginning, and then 2017 fall I started my undergrad. I was kind of lifting, but I was kind of just into maintenance. So like 2016 I made my most, like that's when I kind of like plateaued from 16 to 17, and then fall 17 I was now in a relationship with some other stuff. It's whatever. It'll be another story. And then but 2017 fall I moved to the States for school for a couple of years to get my bachelor's. And then at that time I was having other issues, got busy with school, and then I lost a bit of weight. I wasn't really too consistent with the gym, managing like relationship, coming back home, school, architecture's absolutely disgusting. And it was a big like shock for me, like big change from college, first time moving away from home and all the rest. So the gym kind of came secondary. Then it's whatever, I started having relationship issues, so I think I just put the gym aside, just let go of myself. And I don't want to say I put her on a silver platter per se, but just like I was no longer a priority. Not saying in selfish sense, but it's like I just like let myself go, which I shouldn't have done. And then break up in 2018, near the start of the year, like sort of after into the new year, let's say. And then that's when the fucking script flipped. 2018 was my next like big, let's say massive upgrade, you can say, or whatever. Like I'm gonna stop somewhere. So I'd say it was 28. Yeah, I mean, hands down, that's the most memorable time. So from start of the year up until the summer, until like April, May, I was in the States. But I was just so locked in for like the first, dude, in like 2 months I put on, actually through that summer I put on size 2, but I remember I got up from, I was like 100, I think I dropped to like 140, which is crazy. Or was it 150? No, it was 140. I think I lost a lot of weight. It was either 140 or 150, but I don't think it was 150. I think it was 140. But if it was 150, it's whatever. And then I got up to 165 up until the start of the year, or up until the summer. And I think I maintained 165 up until the fall. And I was just, at that time, like 75s were regular. I was just picking up 75s on flat, 65 incline. That was my new normal. And then fall, I got busy again with school. So summer, I was working a co-op at a firm here. And then just kind of maintaining, enjoying the summer, getting through the feels and the heartbreak, etc. Like, I mean, it was still in the back of my mind for years. But what time heals best. And then had no choice but to just stay locked in, like for without even telling myself. I was like, the gym was just the new thing, and making gains. I felt good, just a new thing to focus on, to shift and to, you know, allocate my energy and my time as much as I could. Because if I was in that gym, I would just like ruminate on it, and it was again extremely stressful, etc. So then after that, I think it was like fall 2018, kind of got busy, maybe dropped down to like 160 or maybe still 165, or maybe I went up, I can't remember. But I know my diets were good. I was meal prepping. I was eating multiple meals a day. Yeah, my weight was good. I was still gymming hard. But it wasn't until 2019 I made another sort of like upgrade again. So now that was the year I got it to 170, like low 170s. And I was low 170s. Then I remember my new normals. I was actually deadlifting, I think in 2018, 2 plates. So it's something crazy, but like deadlifting 2 plates a bit more. But my lower back always felt tweaked, so I stopped deadlifting. My squats were 2 plates in 2018. Up through then, it was just maintaining that. I think my max is 2 plate 10. Then I think I failed. And then my flat chest. So like I'm thinking like free weight stuff. My flat chest in 2019. I have the clip somewhere. That was winterish, like either February, March, or April. I think February, March. And I only did it a couple times, and I can only do it at, I can't remember because I don't think the weights went more than 75s. Yeah, it didn't. They were capped. Yeah, 75s were capped at all the Fit for Lesses back then, if I remember correctly. So I could never do it more than, so I was just doing 75s for reps. If I can do 75 for 10 on flat, I could probably do 80, 85 for, you know what I mean? So yeah, I'm pretty sure they kept it 75. Or no, the location here did, but the one that was close to my school by the States where I was living, I think that one maybe went up to 100s. Again, I can't remember, but yeah, so I was hitting 85 for flat and then 75 incline. Shoulders was 70, which is crazy. I remember that. I remember one guy, I was telling one guy, like, he asked for a spot and he was doing 60s and he was visibly larger than me, like had more muscle mass. I'm like, dude, I just did 70s, or I can't remember. This is 2019 in the year. And back then I was going like late, and somehow I would just get a few hours of sleep, and then just rush to school, go over the border, get to class, but just pretty focused. And it was nice. I'm seeing my body improve from, I let go of myself. So it's like I was somewhere, I went up, then I like dropped. So I went up by like 20%, then I dropped by like 50, and then now I'm up again like 65 or something. However that equates. But yeah, I was doing 70 on shoulder, on no spot. I remember I'd walk the weight over and just start smashing it for like 8, drop it. Maybe I could have done 75s with a spot. And that was my peak. That was my peak. And then I graduated May of 2019, came back home, was looking for a job, and then I got destroyed from this full-time job. Just again, a new thing to allocate my time to. It was like slave monotonous labor. It was like my first full-time post bachelor's. I had a full-time before post undergrad, college, I guess, but yeah, so like priority shifted, didn't really go to the gym much. Then I was commuting. It's like 3 hours a day commute. I would just didn't even consider, I'm like, oh, I'm either taking the GO train or I'm just driving 3 hours, paying for parking. I would just didn't even understand, like, my net take home was nil. And I was making BSN. Now it's like even worse, let alone the job market conditions today, et cetera, and the cost of living and all the rest that society's declining. But so yeah, and then at that point I had moved to a new gym, so I left because my Fit for Less here was still here and I didn't want to go there anymore. And I didn't have time to like drive to the one at the next town or next couple cities over that I was doing in 2018 this summer. So I moved to a new gym called World Gym or Powerhouse now. Back then they were 24/7. Now they close at like 10 or 11, but I left there last year. But I stopped being consistent there in 2023. It's when I kind of left, when I fell off because I was focused on thesis. But Yeah, so just going through my lifting journey, and then 2019 didn't lift much, and then but I was now at Power World Gym, and I was still lifting. I remember I tried doing like morning lifts, but dude, my time was so. Dude, I'd be working at least 9 hours in the office, and then sometimes I'd be working overtime till like 2 a.m. So just didn't have the same consistency that I had even when I was at school. Now there's a beauty because I've none of this crap. It's like another thing to talk about. And then yeah, and then I was still like 170ish, like 165 to 170 back then. I don't think I was more than 170, but my body was okay. Like yeah, I was okay. But I think I at this new gym, I just started alternating with different stuff, and they had the metal weights. So like a 75 there really felt like an 80, or an 85 there really felt like a 90 to like the rubber coated weights. Let's say, and the grips were a bit like the knurling was different, etc. But I started trying different stuff. Started sometimes like benching, hardly, but like just different types of like cable fly machines. Just had a whole array of machines I didn't have at my previous gym. So, anyways, just consistent. And what was it, February, March 2020, we all know what happened. And then that's when I had a big fall off from there, like by design, again, different discussion. And when Shimovid happened, yeah, I mean, it's another story. Like, yeah, I thought it was like, oh, it's temporary. But then and there'd be like up here in Canada, like we'd have these zones where like gym would open and close. So I was desperate to do whatever I can to like maintain my quote unquote, like gains of my body, just keep some sort of like physical fitness level going, etc. But like I remember from, what was it, 2020, from the start of COVID, March 2020 up until 2021 fall, that's when I started grad school. I dropped down to like 150, or maybe below that, like 145-ish, and I don't know, home workouts, paid under the table at some random gym. Powerhouse, they kind of denied the orders, etc. And like they would open and they would like let in 5-10 people at once, etc. It was disgusting. And you only had like 45 minutes to an hour. So it's like when it was like in the red zone, gray zones, they followed that. But even outside of that, I think they were like still allowing people to call. You'd have to like call in. So I'd get like my mom to call like 6 a.m. Be like, hey, book my son a spot. He's going to be there at like 7 a.m. or be there at 8 p.m. tonight. Super weird. That's crazy. Just do whatever I can to work out. It's not even out of, maybe it was out of desperation, but like clearly I want to take care of myself. It's not a flex or whatever, but it's again, like it's had nothing to do with health. But anyways, it's another thing to reflect on separately. And then yeah, 2022, I was back there. I think things were normal. Didn't really get back up to like 75s or 85s. It's just kind of repping 65s, which were really like 70. It doesn't even matter the weights, but yeah, I liked doing the standing Arnold press or shoulder press with like the straight bar, like the squat bar, just doing 25 plates, just high reps. The seated one too is really good. Just different type of machines. They had so much stuff to hit there. For chest, shoulder, legs, etc. And that point I was still okay health-wise. Granted, it's like 2021, 22 is when I started becoming symptomatic, but it didn't really affect my workouts and my life directly, instead of like some bladder issues. But then back then it was like hardly as quote unquote bad as it is now. And then 2023, fall 2022 is when I started my thesis. Still kind of working out here and there, but then it was until like start of 2023 that I had to like lock into thesis. Then all of 2023 I hardly worked out. Don't even remember my weights or anything. I didn't really track anything, just going to the gym here and there. But then that's when I knew I was now symptomatic. I was aware of the diagnosis. I was aware of all these, my condition, etc. So I was more just focusing on the leg, just staying mobile as much as I can, let's say. And then 2024 was last year. That's when I locked in again, so to speak. So finished grad school in the spring, and then at that point I had re-signed up to Fit for Less, this new location that opened up that I went to up until June of this year. I'd say like May of this year, because yeah, I'd say May of this year, because after June I just moved to this new location that you're seeing in these clips that just opened up, which is a bit closer to me. Even if it was farther, I'd still probably make the commute. But yeah, so, and then 2024, I'm just trying to think real quick. yeah, so I finished grad school and I was like on the job hunt, search, getting different discussion, and I spent like all from that point on upon graduating. Sure, I traveled a bit, but like the better part of like 6 months just like applying for jobs. Now that's like a job in itself because you're spending like hours a day trying to curate your stuff and trying to job mine, etc. But that aside, didn't really take away me pull me away from working out. Granted, I was saying like I was flopping on like my diet and stuff like that, and my sleep was okay, but like I wasn't really locked into my diet, just like my workouts. And at that point, I was like doing like 50% legs, which I don't know if it helped delay progression or whatever, but like I don't know, it doesn't hurt to do it. It's better I do it than I don't. It doesn't hurt. So and then yeah, and then it was last fall. I'd say I kind of like locked in again. I gained maybe 5 to less than 10 pounds, like 5, 6, 7, 8 pounds. I remember, and I got up to 160 from like 150. And I was 160 up until 2025 this year until like February. Then I started my full time job, a new full time job in February, and then I slaved that from like February until late May ish. I think, if I remember correctly, doesn't matter. But then, and then at that point, I lost pretty much everything. Like I, not every, like I was still gymming here and there, but it was more just like legs, and I can't even remember, to be honest. Legs and just preparing for my trip to the Alps, um, for like doing these expeditions, etc. Uh, yeah, like really focusing on cardio, endurance, which I think helped. Despite being in a worse condition, each and every day I'm just getting worse. So it's like really just delaying the inevitable. Why not? But yeah, and then at that point I lost weight, and then I remember when I left for my trip, I was maybe like 150, between 150 to 155, and then I came back, I was like 150 ish, and I was 150 from maybe July, August. What month is it now? Yeah, July, August, September. I don't know what I did. It's like a blur. But I was 150, and then beginning of October, I was still 150. Maybe I dropped under 150. I think at some point I was like in the high 140s. Maybe before my trip and then through my trip or after my trip, etc. My diet wasn't locked in. And yeah, it's now November 21st, 2025. And for the last, it's like, I guess it's 7 weeks now, but from the start of October, like end of September, I would say. Yeah, really like end of September is when I start, like, or mid September is when or September, let's say the month of September is when I kind of start to lock in like my diet, everything else. And then first week ish of October, I guess I was away, so didn't work out. But as soon as I got back, like, fucking locked in. So like what, like mid October until now? Yeah, like mid October. When I came back, I was like 150 still, and now I'm 165 thereabouts. Like when I weigh, like, anyways, I weigh myself down, like averaging around 165. So that's what, 15 pounds in 6-ish weeks, kind of a bit less actually. So like in a month, I gained more than 10 pounds. So water weight muscle, and I've just increased my strength. I'm back on 60s on shoulders, kind of 70s on incline. I think could use a better spot. Um, Again, I know strength doesn't necessarily matter, but like I'm just trying to make these gains really before it's too late. Um, this is kind of like my final scent, honestly, and I don't know. I know, God willing, I live a long, meaningful life, but and healthy at that. But it's like I know in my 30s, this jacket will be loose again, or So I think that kind of sums it up. Maybe I'll add some photos or clips in between to kind of show up and share. Yeah, maybe I will. Maybe I won't. Maybe I will. But yeah, I don't know if there's much else, but I guess this would just sum up my last workout of my 20s. Like it's kind of sad. I don't know. I'm kind of over it. I don't want to say I'm like numb. Like as you get older, can I get used to these things? But like before, I'd be like, oh, last like workout of like 21 or 22 or 23. Now it's like, I've been out here, and I think I was going to return to something else, but I think I was thinking today, this whole thing, it's like, despite all my misfortunes, there's a saying, it's like I stand on my misfortunes, and as a result, I stand taller. And it's like at the end of the day, you either want or you don't. You can have all the, like I have all the I mean, we all have all the excuses not to do something, but if it's something that you really, really want to do, then why don't, like, what's the excuse not to do it? Like, what's my excuse? Like, why am I still doing it despite my body not working, failing to work, and increasingly so declining? You know, so what's like, look at Sisyphus. You know, he continued to push the boulder up the hill for eternity or until his death, and yet he still had a smile on his face. And it's like, while he was punished, while he was punished for eternity to pursue this task, it's like, well, he might be. I forgot what the saying is, or my interpretation of it. It's like the gods can force him to do this, but they can't force him to be unhappy. You know, they can't force how he reacts to the situation, which is Camus', I guess, whole thing on absurdity and finding kind of meaning and understanding meaninglessness and all that. But yeah, I don't know. My whole thing is like, if it's hard for me, what's your excuse? If it's hard for me, what's the excuse for you? It's like most people quit before I've even started. So I'd say stop watching all your hope core, motivation porn and all that shit. Just like go to the gym. Again, you either want or you don't. It's like people say, if you have a gun to people's head and you would ask them if they're like 300 pounds or 400 pounds or even 200 pounds, and you're like, do you want to be fit? Do you think their answer would be yes or no? I think 9 times out of 10 they'd be like, or do you want to be healthy? Doesn't health, I mean, health might not equate to a long life, and again, your health isn't really fully in your control in some cases, but it's like they would say yes, but then it's like, okay, now you're gonna have to do this hard stuff, and it's like once you bring that up to them, it almost becomes like, oh, maybe I'm not gonna do it because it's hard. It's like you really don't want it. It's like, oh, because it's hard. So again, you really need to fight against your circumstances. That's how I see it. Just reading a note here. It's like, if you don't want it, yeah, you really don't want it if you don't want to do it. If you can't even take the first step. So that applies to a lot of things, right? Whether it's like you want to find some sort of success, or there's always alternatives. There's always ways to make your way out, and it's good when shit is sort of not working, because you're kind of forced to think of alternatives, which again, for the mass populace, like NPCs, are kind of following the script by design, so they're not really forced to think, like they've never come to terms with like, hey, I need to like think of an alternative or whatever else. One thing here is like, if you can't find work, create your own. Like, don't wait for someone to create it for you. The same thing, it's like, if you don't have your own plans in life, you're just going to be part of someone else's. You think your manager, your boss wants to they're like, oh, it's a hassle to have to like plan stuff out for said person, etc. Or who knows. But I think that kind of sums up, you know, again, these are like, I don't want to say like unscripted, but like I didn't really know what I was going to talk about, but